We are ready to start Module 3 now. In Module 1, we introduced the concept of writing across the curriculum in different contexts, in different content areas, and looking at ways to incorporate collaboration. We built on that in Module 2, talking about engaging students in all parts of the writing process and how important it is to create many steps along the way in a writing project in order to have the effective results to really see student growth and student learning that we're looking for. And finally, or not finally, but now we are moving on to Module 3, which is all about creating meaningful feedback, peer editing, and reflective writing. And these three things are essentials in any good writing activity or any good writing task because they're the three things that perhaps are going to have the strongest influence on the student learning, on the effect of student learning. So let's look at some of our objectives first of all. We're going why, what, how again. First of all, we're going to explore a little bit of why. Why is it important to have this intentional planning for peer editing, reflection, and feedback? And why do we need those things for developing academic writers? We're going to see some case studies and things that show how this plays out, and we'll kind of create our answer to that why. We've all seen these things done poorly, and we know we've tried them on the fly, perhaps even, and or even tried them intentionally with plan and seen them fail. So we're going to try to look at what strategies, technology tools, and resources are available to make this process effective. How can we really make peer editing more than just a social waste of time? Or how can we be intentional about allowing students to reflect and receive and give feedback? How can our feedback influence them? How can we be that guide on the side, coaching them along the way and see individual writers grow, starting at their own starting point and ending at a place that is it makes their writing richer than it started. Looking again at that rich academic writing that's collaborative and bridges contexts. So how will students implement this? What is this going to look like in your course? And we're going to kind of explore a few resources. Here's some ways to think about feedback and reflection in a different way. The first one is a YouTube video, just kind of a screencast like this one from a teacher who teaches junior high English and how she uses a concept that she will be quick to say she found somewhere else. It was somebody else's idea, then she just catered it to make it work for her classroom. And it's the concept of interactive rubrics. If we move on then, this same type of interactive rubric is played out in a slightly different way in another teacher's classroom, Michelle Lampinen, I believe is her last name, and she uses QR codes to give students tools for when they're in their rubric and they're trying to fix their own writing. They can take a picture of a QR code and it leads them to tools that they need. It's just like this embedded concept. And what I love about it for our purposes of thinking about cross-curricular writing is if, as a writing teacher, I could supply this type of rubric to other disciplines, and they don't have to be the writing specialist. This rubric becomes the writing specialist for them, and it gives students that they can they can learn outside of a specific context and setting. They can have that with them, and there's always a teacher alongside them in a way. So I'm excited about that one. I hope you enjoy it too. User's guide concept, the idea that students write a user's guide to their own writing, and this could be something that could be done in the collaboration process. This would be something that's used to communicate student to student or teacher to student. See what you think about it in terms of a tool that might be a formative type tool in getting that writing out that rich writing that we really want from students. Links for collaboration throughout the process. The Schrock Guide, this is not mine. This is Kathy Schrock, and she is the author of a website or a really great online tool for teachers called Kathy Schrock's Guide to Everything. And she's not being she's not overstating her case there. She has guides to everything. She has some really good sources here on how to help students collaborate online. And I think that when we talk about collaboration, it can, I think a lot of it can happen in a classroom, but if we're talking about across curriculum, you're probably going to have to take some of it online. And these are some ways you can do that so that different content areas can collaborate with one another on a project. And you can even have students working at the same time in two different rooms, but they could communicate through some of her tools. And then she also has a great site for different types of assessment tools and rubrics to help feed that idea of reflection and feedback at both the peer and student level, teacher level. So what are we going to do with all of this? We're going to make a new installment in your final project, whatever we're going to call that, portfolio, whatever. And I'd like you to create a plan for how you're going to implement effective editing, reflection, and feedback activities. Beyond descriptions, let's create the actual tools or provide links to them. What are you going to use to set up peer reviews of the projects, self-reflections of the projects? What feedback approach are you going to use for this particular project? And let's keep it specific to this writing task that you're starting to form that's going to go between class courses of study, perhaps. You might even be collaborating with another teacher eventually on it. But it's asking maybe students to take a real world problem and put it into some sort of writing format using other people and other courses of study to feed their project. And here's the part where you add how they're going to edit that, reflect on it, give feedback to one another, and receive feedback from you. And these pieces are things that I also want you to consider as you're creating these tools and you're describing them, that they're not all tools that come at the end of the writing process. These are tools that can be used throughout the writing process and should be, because writing, we're not writing for the end, we're writing for the process. That's all I have for you this time. We'll see you next module.